the men to know, okay? If you're hard to look at, okay, you can play hard to get.
Just a thought, but I'd rather be hard to look at than hard to be around.
Can you be balding and still ghost me?
Well, if we're going to say that a person should act a certain way while dating based on how they look, then there's a lot of people in for a rough time of it, because they certainly don't have the personalities to make up for their appearance.
Welcome back to Unfiltered. Today we're looking at attention-seeking women getting humbled by Lady J, starting with Bonnie Blue, claiming men shouldn't feel bad for being unfaithful.
Just a reminder, don't ever feel guilty for cheating on your wife.
Oh my goodness. This person is giving advice now. Oh, goody.
It's her fault for being lazy and not pleasuring you.
I mean, no, that's not an excuse for cheating. There's never an excuse to cheat. If a person is unhappy in a relationship, do the adult thing and just leave the relationship. Have a conversation about it. Don't be that person that tries to make excuses for bad behavior. There is no excuse for being unfaithful to your partner. Whether you're a man or a woman, there is not one legitimate, reasonable, logical excuse for it. But I gotta say, that person giving advice on anything having to do with monogamous relationships, no, that's something new, isn't it?
Cheating is wrong in every situation, and there are no excuses for it. Up next, this woman claims men are upset about body counts because they're jealous.
Only care about your body count because they're jealous.
Somehow, I doubt that.
They're jealous that it's so easy for us to get. They're jealous it's so easy for us to just post a status or make money off our bodies.
No, they're not. Because a lot of men out there actually have what are called standards when it comes to someone that they choose to be in a relationship with. And a person who has a large body count, well, that can tell you a lot about that person and their decision-making skills.
They actually have to trick women and put in work and spend money to try to get laid. We don't have to do anything.
Not exactly sure that that's something to be proud of.
These guys are just jealous and they're insecure and they don't like being beat at their own game. And because relationships are usually about power.
What? No, relationships should never be about power. I actually genuinely feel sorry for someone that thinks that.
I don't like that a woman has power that is stronger than his. And it's not a compliment that all these men want to sleep with a woman.
No, most men just don't like it when someone obviously doesn't have discerning taste and will sleep with almost anyone.
Oh, if you liked yourself, you wouldn't sleep with all these guys.
Ooh, finally got one right.
When they care about your body count, it's because they're jealous. They wish they were you. They wish they could be a woman. They wish they could make money off their bodies.
What?
And any guy that cares about your body count, he's not a keeper. Definitely not.
And the same could be said for any woman that doesn't respect a man having standards.
Most men aren't jealous. They care about standards and self-control. Now, this woman says going on a walk doesn't count as a real date.
Taking a girl on a walk is not a date.
Okay. Why isn't it?
And I can't believe I even have to say this.
But yet, here we are. So why isn't it a date?
It is low effort. You put zero thought into it.
Based on what? That the guy isn't spending a lot of money? Maybe he just wanted to get to know you.
If I wanted to go on a hot girl walk, I would call one of my girlfriends. I will go with the girlies.
Okay then. What exactly did you have in mind?
A date is something that you actually have to plan. A date is something that you are investing a certain amount financially into. It doesn't have to be a ton, but something.
No, a man does not have to invest money into a certain activity in order for it to be considered a date. That's rather materialistic minded of someone.
For example, if you wanted to go on a walk and then have a picnic, right? You have a couple snacks, maybe bring some music you can listen to. Oh, this is a perfect view for a sunset. Let's put a little thought into it.
It's really sad that some individuals think that a relationship has to start out by someone spending money.
Even a guy that has no money, if he wanted to, he would. He will find a way to figure it out. He will find a way to make it special for you.
It's almost like things can be made special and meaningful without money.
If a man is trying to take you on a walk, girl, run, not toward him, away.
Just a thought, but if a woman needs a man to spend money on her in order for her to feel special,
Yeah, the woman's not the one that should be running in the opposite direction.
It's unfortunate that effort is only valued when money is involved. Up next, this woman says she wants to bring back manly men.
This is my petition to bring back manly men.
Oh, manly men are in demand again, are they? Let me guess. Someone must have needed something.
Just tell me why I was at the airport yesterday and I asked two grown men to help me put suitcase up in the overhead bin.
Yep, called it. Because the only time that some of those strong, independent women seem to want manly men around is when they find out they can't do something all by themselves.
They both said no. One of them was like, if you can't put it up yourself, go check it at the gate.
I feel that's a perfectly valid response. After all, if a woman can't handle her own baggage, why should she try to hand it off to a man to deal with?
I was like, jaw dropped, because what's your issue?
There's no issue. They've probably just been listening to what a lot of women out there have been saying, that they don't need or want men for anything.
If I could, I would, but I just can't. I'm 5 feet tall. I literally weigh 90 pounds, and you think I can barely reach up there. What's your issue? Hello? What?
Maybe, just maybe, a person should have taken a little more responsibility for their own actions, not taken on more than they're physically capable of handling themselves, and then expect others, specifically men, to do the work for them.
Yet the moment help is needed, the message suddenly changes. Now this woman claims men prefer excessive cosmetic procedures.
Like women with an excess of plastic surgery.
No, they don't. Who told you that?
Because they get off on the idea that a woman would put herself through anything just to be attractive to men.
That statement sounds like it actually came from a woman who actually had excess plastic surgery done and was actually trying to find ways to justify getting so much work done. But don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with getting cosmetic procedures done as long as it makes you feel better about yourself. That should be the reason why people get work done, not for the approval of others or so that they'll like them more. Because remember, ladies, most men prefer women with natural beauty and the confidence to let that show. No person should be getting cosmetic work done or wear excess makeup because they think other people will like it. That is something that a person should do for themselves, not for the approval of men or for the approval of other women.
Most men aren't interested in women with plastic surgery. Up next, this chick claims you must cheat if you're cheated on.
Flirt with men that they like.
So who do women flirt with then? Men that they don't like? No, that can't be right. I'm sure that there's more to this.
When a woman likes you, she's likely to not even look at you.
I can most certainly see how a lot of guys would probably be very confused at this point, hearing that if a woman likes you, she's not even going to look at you, and she's most certainly not going to be flirting with you. It's almost as like they're trying to say that there's no way at all to know if a woman actually likes you.
Men need to stop thinking that just because a woman shows them some sort of attention, that it means that she likes him.
I mean, that's at least somewhat true. Sometimes people just engage in casual conversation. But that really isn't solving the problem that we have here, is it?
If a woman is talking to you a lot, she's probably just very comfortable and thinks that you're easy to get along with.
But of course. But remember, according to the first part of this video, if she's talking to you a lot and paying you some sort of attention, she absolutely is not flirting with you, and it probably doesn't mean that she likes you, because if she likes you, she would be ignoring you. Anyone notice that a lot of these individuals out there that give all of this dating advice aren't actually giving any sort of advice? They're just muddying the waters.
That is definitely horrible advice no woman should follow. Now this woman claims all men are trash.
Oh good, another parade that I get to rain on. Now, watching this, I got the distinct impression that this was meant to be funny. Something that women could bond over in their mutual disdain of men by calling them trash to a catchy little tune. What's wrong with some individuals out there? I mean, they are fully aware, I hope, that they're referring to all men. They didn't distinguish who they were talking about. So these women, who likely have fathers or brothers and possibly even sons, are calling even those men in their lives trash because they don't like the actions of some men. So naturally, all the rest of them have to be trash. But here's something I don't think they thought about. If all men are in fact trash, what does that make the women who actually love those men, who care for them, who support them? They're not being very supportive of other women and their choices, are they? Oh dear, that is unfortunate.
Up next, This woman says the only thing women want is for men to yearn.
Stop yearning. Men don't yearn anymore.
And what exactly are they supposed to be yearning for? Quite frankly, I can't see a lot of men yearning after most modern women, especially taking into consideration how a lot of them act.
That's what women want. All they want is to be yearned for.
Oh yes, that's all women want, is to be yearned for. But if we take a look at social media, a lot of women out there are going to want men to chase them to see who can line up to pay their bills so they won't actually have to do anything on their own.
Why do you think Mr. Darcy is such a sought-after gentleman, sir?
They mean the fictional gentleman that was written by a woman for women. Okay.
Why do you think women are reading these fantasy novels about men who are literally crawling out of their grave to get to her?
Do you think a lot of those women possess the same character traits as the heroines in those novels? Probably not. That's why it's called fiction. Fantasy.
That's what women want. It's really not that hard, y'all.
Just a thought, and this might come across a bit harsh, but this goes for men as well as women. In order for someone to be desired, they first have to be desirable.
That mindset shows a lack of respect and emotional maturity. Up next, this woman says, treating men transactionally won't affect how they treat you.
I just want you to know that treating men transactionally will not change how men treat you.
Sure. Except for in those cases where it almost always absolutely will, because contrary to popular opinion, most men are actually rather observant and do understand when they're being used.
It will only reveal their extremely transactional nature to you as a woman who has been taught to give your value away for free.
Or, as more likely is the case, the guy actually understands what is going on and how the woman is currently viewing their relationship and is going to treat the woman precisely the way that she is treating him.
It will not only radicalize you, but it's also an excellent vetting strategy and an excellent way to
stay single. Yes, I said it. Because if you're going to use someone in a relationship in a transactional manner, please do the rest of us a favor and just stay single.
Because you as a woman have been taught to accept the bare minimum and the idea of love and romance in exchange for cold, hard labor. That is what men expect from you every time, I promise.
I wouldn't put much stake in that promise, but then again, I always consider the source.
If everything is transactional, it usually means nothing genuine is being offered. Next, this woman struggles to show basic respect toward men.
That men like to take collective credit for other men's accomplishments.
It's like the word some is almost completely absent from some individuals' vocabularies.
But won't take collective accountability for other men's crimes.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why exactly would the entirety of a population take accountability for the actions that only a minority of that population are actually responsible for?
We should respect and submit to men because a few dead guys invented or built some shit.
Again, the types of men that make such statements such as those are not in the majority. They are in the unfortunate minority of men that do not seem to want to use any logic or reasoning when making such statements. I might also add that from that same pool of minority of men are where the majority of those who make generalizations about women come from. So, do consider the source.
But we shouldn't fear all men, even though the majority of violent crime is committed by men. Make it make sense.
Yes, let's do make it make sense, because unfortunately it seems that some don't understand how statistics work. Because although unfortunately the majority of those acts are committed by men, that does not mean that the majority of men commit those acts.
It's unfortunate to see how common that attitude has become. Now another woman speaks without thinking through her argument.
Are there men that tell women to choose better?
What, are they about to receive thanks for telling some women what they really need to hear?
I want to point something out.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be a thank you message, does it?
Those men, the men that say she should have chose better, are typically the same men that women left.
Really? It's sadly predictable, actually, how there are those that will just try to insult others when they say something that might actually indicate that some of the responsibility might fall on them, that they might have to take some personal accountability for the choices that they make in men, for how their relationships did not turn out so well. Shocking, I know.
And if you don't understand what that means, it means you're the guy she left to choose better.
I do understand that it's not that easy to accept criticism, or possibly have to accept that a person might have to take some personal accountability for their own actions in regards to the people they choose to end up in relationships with. And although it does take two for a relationship to often fail, each person does need to take accountability of their own part in it.
Accountability continues to be missing from the conversation. Next, we see a woman clearly stating she's only interested in money.
Gentlemen, if you don't spend copious amounts of money on a woman, they're going to try to shame you into doing so by a couple of different methods. And here's how.
Only guys that don't have money call other men simps.
So there's that. And then there's this.
Because other men actually are straight and like women and like to please women and cater to women. They feel like if you like women and you cater to women that you're a simp, but really, those guys are just gay.
Right then. So that was a very blatant attempt at emotional manipulation. And it's just my opinion, but the types of ladies that put out those particular statements are not at all interested in having a man who is self-confident, knows himself, and has good self-esteem. No, they are in fact only interested in those types of men that are easily manipulated into getting them to do exactly what they want, which is unfortunately spending large amounts of money on them. So gentlemen, please don't fall for these types of shaming tactics, because at the end of the day, most of the women that put out statements like that are only after your money.
That type of honesty at least makes intentions clear. Up next, this woman posts a clip that raises serious concerns.
Okay, so I do understand that this post was originally meant to be a joke. However, in my understanding of what a joke actually is, they're meant to be, you know, funny. But what exactly is funny about DV? Have we reached a point where it's okay to joke about DV in society? Huh, that's unfortunate. But I would like to point out that if this type of post was made about a woman getting hit with a frying pan for acting out in her household, oh my goodness, the internet would be up in arms, wouldn't it? But if it's a man, for some it's okay to call it a joke and laugh about it. Not even taking into consideration the hundreds, if not thousands, of men that are victims of DV every single year. And sadly, it goes underreported because men often get shamed for being assaulted by a woman. But yet it's okay to joke about it, right? We need to do better than that.
No healthy relationship can exist with behavior like that. Now, this woman claims misandry doesn't exist.
Thanks. Who likes to see those? Because I found a doozy. So, they're actually trying to perpetuate the not only false, but I would go so far as to say very harmful narrative that misandry isn't real, and that it was actually created by men as a way to try to discredit the feminist movement. And then they actually go on to demonstrate that they actually don't know the definition of misandry. But let's take a look at the actual definition of misandry for a moment, okay? So misandry means hatred of men. Remember that. Because there are those out there that would try to convince you that you don't know what you're talking about, that that's not what the word means, and that you're actually crazy for believing so. But any person who actually tries to convince you that you're crazy for actually believing in what is reality is actually doing, and I hesitate to say this because it's so often misused, performing the ultimate form of gaslighting. Because many don't want to take accountability for their own actions.
If that were true, then dismissing men's experiences wouldn't be so common. Up next, this woman claims blocking men means women win.
I don't have to block you. Okay, you win.
Has the term winning come to mean being absolutely so insufferable that in order to preserve his own well-being and mental health, that they had to go so far as to break all contact with someone and actually block them so that they wouldn't have to see their face? Is that what winning means now?
Right. That's how you know you really got to him.
By got to him, I think they mean scared him.
If he had to block you, okay, you win.
No, that is actually not what winning looks like, because I think most of us are aware that guys rarely block women, at least not without a very good reason. So likely someone's behavior had escalated to the point where it was, shall we say, erratic, that it was actually the safest thing and best thing for all involved for him to stop all contact and just block her.
That approach avoids communication rather than solving problems. Next, this woman explains her frustration when men don't pick up on hints.
To the ATM?
Okay, well, I gotta say, the text on the screen has me a bit curious.
Because I told my husband I need to go to the ATM, and he was like, okay, babe, go now before it gets too late.
Oh dear. So for those of you whose hint-taking skills are not quite up to par, do allow me to translate. The woman was hoping that the man would pick up on the hint that she wanted him to go to the ATM as opposed to her. And now she's just frustrated that he didn't get it, and now she is going to have to go by herself. So ladies, just a suggestion, if you are frustrated or disappointed that your man in your life does not understand or pick up on hints, don't be surprised. Most men don't pick up on hints because most men are used to direct forms of communication. So if you want him to do something, try just saying that. You'd be surprised how well effective communication actually works in a relationship if you actually say what you want as opposed to beating around the bush about it.
Expecting mind reading instead of clear communication is unrealistic. Up next, this woman openly says she doesn't care about men's mental health.
I don't care. Okay. I really don't give a
Well, that's unfortunate, because there's certainly a lot of women out there that expect all men to care about all women's issues. But yet when it comes to matters that are actually critical to the male population, there are a lot of women out there that really should stop saying that they have empathy for others, because it's becoming perfectly obvious that they don't. See, now, a woman with class would actually say thank you to anyone that performed a kindness for them, such as holding a door open. That's called having manners, because contrary to whatever the day of the year it happens to be, no one is obligated to hold the door open for you just because you're a woman.
If a man said the same thing, the backlash would be immediate. Now, this woman claims people who say they dislike men are actually the most loyal.
Is that girls who hate all men actually make the most loving and loyal partners?
Really? And the best part is they followed it up with this.
But you aren't ready for that conversation.
Oh, I think we're absolutely ready for this conversation, except I think that there's a lot out there that are not ready to bring logic into this discussion. See, what they're trying to argue is that if a person, a woman, is a misandrist and dislikes all men equally, but yet they find the one person that is the exception to everything that they disdain, then they naturally would be the most loyal and loving partner to that person. How much sense does that make? Because if we were to put it in the opposite perspective, and a man is a misogynist and dislikes all women equally, but yet finds that one woman out there, then by their initial logic, that would mean that he would be the most loyal and loving person to that woman possible. And how much sense does that make? I can't imagine that there'd be a lot of women out there ready and willing to agree with that point, so that initial statement is illogical.
That logic didn't add up, and neither did the explanation. And finally, this woman shows exactly how avoiding accountability plays out in real time.
Troubling, isn't it? But wait, there's more. And all of those I happened to find in a span of less than 30 minutes just scrolling through social media as I normally would. And if seeing that didn't give a lot of you some insight and better perspective into how popularized it is becoming to spread not only misandry, but prejudice against men, I don't know what will. And I'm sure there's a lot of you asking why. Why are those posts continuing to allowed to be put out there on social media? And the simplest answer is because they're popular. They're popular among women and men. They get likes and they get views. I wonder when this is going to stop, because apparently spreading prejudice and hate is just too popular to quit.